This program is brought to you by UCKG.
Hello and welcome to today's Love Talk Show. Lots of women and men dream of becoming parents. Many say that this is the most rewarding part of their life because it has to do with unconditional love.
But the spirit and deep love comes with the baggage. You are responsible for a life and you have to make decisions based on your kids. But all these are totally worth it if you are mature enough to know how to deal with this challenge.
That's right, and the transition to parenthood causes changes to your personal life and to your marriage as well. You will have many happy moments, but also difficult ones too. And that's why we're here, to help you and to offer you some advice on this matter.
And to introduce today's topics, let's check out this video.
Tired mother, stressed father. To raise a child is full of joyful moments, but it can also be the hardest job you will ever have. In addition, like any other job, it takes practice to be good at it, especially when you are new to parenthood. The birth of a baby is the biggest challenge that spouses can face. You'll have to get used to some changes such as sleep deprivation, a reduction in intimate moments with each other, becoming a multitasker, as well as changing a number of your life habits. Doing all of these can bring about stress and exhaustion. This is why you and your partner have to work as a team, helping each other out to overcome any challenges. Don't let the difficulties ruin the beauty of having a family. There is no time for anything. Much more to do and much less time to do it in. This is the life of a couple with kids. It does not matter how many kids you have and what your overall experience is. There will be times of stress, anxiety, and exhaustion. Parental burnout is often inevitable. Draft a schedule, share responsibilities with your partner, and don't forget to look after yourself as a couple and as individuals. Remember, the kids grow up. When it was just the two of you, you were both the most important people for each other. After a first child, there is now a third person to love and care about. Raising a child requires time and effort, so does your relationship. For some couples, however, their relationship is put aside, and this neglect can bring about conflicts down the road. It is of utmost importance to always communicate and work together. Remember, the kids will grow up and leave home one day. If you continually invest in your relationship, you can be happy and dedicated partners for life, always having one another to lean on. Happy parents, happy kids. Your face lights up when you see your kids happy, right? Being a good parent requires you being a good example and having a healthy relationship with your spouse. This is the first step. You have to demonstrate healthy love as an example for your kids from an early age. Newborns and toddlers are very sensitive. Therefore, if they witness fights between their parents, this can cause trauma, which is then carried into their adulthood. If any problems are happening in your relationship, it is important that this does not affect the children. Deal with any problems away from them. Work to have a happy and healthy marriage, and this, in turn, will build a happy and healthy family.
video, Anna, it gives us a brief introduction of some of the things we're going to be discussing about on today's show. For instance, you spoke about the tired mother and the stressed out father. Of course, that we all get tired throughout the day. We deal with life stress, but we have to try as best as we can to not transmit this to the children, because differently from what most people believe, young children, they even say, some specialists believe that children between the ages of 2 and 5 years old, they have basically photographic memory. So this thought that, oh, the child doesn't understand. No, they do. They do understand many things. And the energy that the parents transmit to them will be the energy that is picked up. So parents should find a way to get rest, of course, when possible, and to deal with stress as in a way not to affect the children, not to transmit that they are stressed out to the children, because this can cause also anxiety.
Yes, because the kids are like sponge. They absorb everything.
Actually,
and if the parents are upset, these are going to pass on to the kids.
Yes,
also.
another point that was approached is when there's no time for anything. Or if we're going to see how things are today, life is so busy, but we actually have to take time to what is important.
Yes.
We do take time for what is important. Actually, no one has time.
But you make the time.
That's what I was about to say.
You make the time and prioritize what's more important.
That's good. And we also have to remember and take into consideration, it was presented in the video, that the kids will grow up.
Yes.
Even though we would love to have them as children and to remember those good moments when they were pretty much depending on us, that we could teach them and they would listen, but they grow up. They will develop their own individual personality,
so
their
that's
own choices.
why it's important to invest in the relationship, not forget that they are husband and wife, because later on the kids are going to grow up and the marriage is going to be like two strangers. Huh?
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah, and to learn how to deal even with this difference. Many parents don't deal well with this. They expect that their children was going to be, like the children forever, but it's not like this. And how do you deal with this? How do you lay the path for them to be adults with strong principles, yes, right? That, of course, are free to develop their skills and everything,
to have the
but they have
parents
the influence.
To have the parents as an example to their future
as
families.
The best influence they possibly can. Parents should be the best influence for their children. So these are some of the things we're going to be talking about more in depth on today's show. But we're going to go for a quick break now, and stay with us because we still have a lot of good things to share with you on today's show. Right after this. Hello, dear viewer. We are here and we came in the middle of the break to tell you this. The best way for you to learn how to deal with your relationship problems, Anna, is to learn how to deal with
ourselves. If you don't know how to deal with yourself, you don't know how to deal with others.
That's right. That's why we have the Love Therapy. Every Thursday at 8 p.m. in Finsbury Park, 232 Seven Sisters Road, N4, 3NX, and also in some other locations. For more information, visit our website, lovetherapy.co.uk. See you there.
See you. Welcome back. Today we are talking about marriage and kids. Now we will have a beautiful family with us.
They will share all the challenges they had and how it is important for the couple to be together in every moment, the good ones and the difficult ones as well, always supporting one another. So let's check it out. Okay, so now we are here on a kids area and I want to introduce you to the family that is here with us today, Randir, Diana, and little Elizabeth.
Pleasure to have you here.
It's good to have you, okay? So, how long have you been together?
We have been together for more than 6 years, 6.5, right? If I don't forget the dates, yeah.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about the beginning. How did you two meet? How did everything happen?
Oh, we have a fight camp. We started with a fight, right? It's a fight camp in Holland where we went there with a team to training Taekwondo. So we met on the way, and then from there we started talking and we got together after.
Yes.
And we end up with a baby now, 6 years later. Yeah, that's how we met in the Taekwondo training.
Yes. Okay.
Fight camp.
Right. And Diana, so how was it? What brought you together? You met one another. What was the you just started talking? Were you there to fight?
Yeah.
You were there to okay.
Yeah, it's training. She's as well.
Who liked who before?
Yeah, he's very nice. He was very funny and handsome. So basically, I just had, he started to flirt first. He started to, start talking to me and, and then we both had a crush. And after all this experience in the fight camp, we started dating.
So you see, it's interesting how people have to be open, addressing to the single ones a little bit, to opportunities, right? Sometimes when you don't think you can meet the one that's going to be, your partner for life, you can, right?
It's just there in the environment that you go to a gym or to a class, and you need to be open to new experience.
To seize the opportunities, right? Okay, so you started dating, yes, and then before little Elizabeth, you're 6 years together, so 4 years. What were the challenges, the initial challenges that you had prior to the birth of Elizabeth?
We have a lot of difficulties in the beginning, financial problems, and here we live with people sharing house and all these things, so it's no easy. And at that time we used to share house and moving sometime every 5, 6 months. Sometimes we have to move house, try to get better or have that financial situations all the time. And when we went for holiday in Brazil 3 years ago, and then we started trying for baby from there.
Right.
Where she's got pregnant right after we came back. And it was difficult when she was pregnant, we need to move house because they didn't allow us to have a baby in the house. That was a challenge because financially we wasn't well at that time to get a house. But we didn't think about benefiting anything. We want a house for ourselves. We started looking for, even to find for ourselves a flat was difficult because landlords didn't want to rent it for a pregnant woman. So we went to the consul and asked them for help. Not for benefit, but help us to find somewhere. A few weeks later, they got agents to call us, and then they offered us a house in Brent Cross. So we moved there and stayed a year. And then the little one came, and then we moved. A year later, we moved to a better house. So more comfy for her, more space, and things going well now.
Right. One thing that I wanted to ask from both of you. So you were talking about an external circumstance, the financial difficulty, the fact that you had a hard time finding a place that would accept the fact that the baby was coming. What would you say? Did you, in this time of difficulty, could say these problems outside brought you closer together? Or do you think that it was more like a stress between you two? How did it affect the relationship?
No, the relation didn't affect because we're very close. We tried to solve the problem. The stressful thing is they see that you're in a situation with a pregnant woman that no one can help, and they don't want to help. They are thinking we're going to rent a house and apply for benefit. We didn't want that, even if it was in that situation. But we stick together. We didn't have a problem, stress between us about that, no. Wasn't easy because, people, the agents where we are living in a room, you need to move and say, look, you have to give me time. I don't have where to go yet. And once we found it, we just moved in and that was it.
So you see, one main principle of intelligent love is that you deal with problems in a rational way. When you deal with problems in a rational way, then you are moving closer to the solution. Usually couples who do that, in times of trouble, they even get closer to one another. But you find many couples who allow emotions to get in the way. And of course, it's the normal stress. As you said, it does bring negative emotions, frustration, anger. But we always have to remember that we can never project this into the relationship. If we do this, the moment that you catch yourself doing this, you need to stop, refrain from doing this, and take steps back immediately. Because if you keep going on this route, you're gonna hurt one another, you're gonna have more problems, right? So that's why we keep talking about intelligent love on the Love Talk Show. Even though love involves emotions, yes, everybody wants to have the best emotions, that's fine. But for you to have the emotions, you need to act intelligently, right?
Yeah.
Because when you don't allow the emotions to get in, instead of to be weaker, the relationship can get stronger. And after you can think and remember, I remember those times, but you get stronger, not weaker.
Right. So, after the birth of Elizabeth, talk about it a little bit, Diana. So, what were the main changes? I know everything changes, right? And the child is a blessing, but what were the challenges that you saw coming with the birth of Elizabeth?
We didn't have anyone close to us. No, our families, and I come from Italy, but they couldn't come. So we just embraced ourselves, and he was very supportive. Basically, I was doing everything by myself, and I didn't have a clue how to raise such
everything
a little, tiny baby. So it always came with my mother
Instinct.
So, and we had even close friends. Unfortunately, friends that have their own life, so they can be with you all the time. But somehow they just replace a family that in that circumstance you don't have. So it was quite hard, and I remember I was crying every day. I was very tired. I didn't know, but I had postpartum depression as well.
Right.
I carried for almost a year. Basically, I was just me and the baby. I felt like to be just in a cage, just to be me and the baby and me. I didn't have time for myself, and what I missed the most was my freedom, because I didn't have freedom before. I needed, to go to the hairdresser. I used to go out, see the hairdresser, spend like half day, and see friends, which was very difficult after Elizabeth to see them. So I felt this kind of isolation feeling. It was terrible. Even if people were coming to see us and see the baby, I felt so lonely, terrible. And another thing that really is still missing is to spend time with my husband, because it's something that he is a priority. And yeah, when a baby comes, you don't have much time.
Yeah, because you see, of course, everybody's happy with the time the baby is born, right? And you're thinking about your expectations, what will the child become? Is it going to be a boy or a girl? Nothing. But all these things have to be taken into consideration, right? The sacrifices that are necessary, because you do lose a lot of your liberty, especially in the beginning, right? During the infant
For the
period.
woman even more, because she has to look after the baby all the time. And I remember in the beginning, like she's saying, it's very hard when you don't have anyone near. Like in Brazil or Italy, the whole family is around. But here, I told her, you can't put your mind in people because we have no choice. You need to be strong and just take it, Don't count with people, because then you're gonna be upset because they can't help you.
And Irangi, when you notice how also Diana was changing, being affected in that way emotionally, right? Affected to what do you think were the key things that you had to do in order to help her, to support her?
I used to tell her not to take to emotional side on country with family because they live far or even friends, because everybody's very busy here. I was just encouraging her and tell, look, you need to be strong and just keep doing what you're doing well, because don't think that people are gonna help because you're gonna be upset, you know. It's gonna make you worse because you expect things from people that they can do it, can be there.
So now, on the professional side, you run your business.
My business,
yeah?
yes.
Do you work together in the business or no?
She helps me.
Yeah.
She helps me from home when I need.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm out and I need her help.
So how do you conciliate? How do you balance the two things out? The business, which I believe is a lot time-consuming, and family. What would you say to those who are watching? How do you conciliate with this?
One thing that's very good from my wife, that she doesn't ask me for timing, and she's not kind of person that disturbs me when I'm working. She let me work as much as I need to. She's not a person that keep calling me and saying no. So I have to call her to say she's okay. She doesn't. She just forget me then, and I'm kind of I'm relaxed when I'm working because I can focus on the job. And when I come home, I try to help her. Of course, when I get home, I'm still busy with my job because I need to go to the computer and do my stuff. But sometimes I see that she's very busy or stressing during the day because the baby sometimes doesn't give her space. So then I take the baby on side while she's doing her things or cooking for us. And I try to do my part and play with the baby until, you know, she's fine to look after, because it's still I have to continue my work after. So it's no easy, it's very tiring. I'm tired now right now. But it's good, you know, we have a good relationship on that point, because I had previous relationships that was very, you know, calling all the time,
demanding,
and it's
right,
too much. And then with her, we never had problems since the beginning, you know.
Find this balance.
It helps a lot.
Yeah.
She knows I'm working.
Good. Yeah, there has to be an understanding from both parts, yeah? Because unfortunately in many relationships there isn't, and that's where problems begin. When one is only thinking about his or her own needs, it's a recipe to failure. You need to be understanding that the relationship is not just about you. Of course, you also have to receive, but it's important to give in the relationship, to be tolerant, to be understanding, and not just demand. Oh, I need this, I need that. Okay, there's a moment to ask, but as you're saying here, it can't be all the time, because instead of helping, this is going to bring more stress.
Causes stress, for
selfish
sure.
way to think just about themselves.
And selfishness is also another recipe for failure in a relationship. So I wanted to ask from you both. Probably we have many couples now who have a baby, you know, a child who is just born, and they're watching us. What would you say? What kind of advice, besides the one that you already spoke about so far, to help them deal with the challenges after the child is born?
Well, this support on each other is very important. They have to understand each other. Let's say in our case, I'm working and she stays home with the baby. And I look after her, she's looking after me, because when I get home, you know, she's doing her part, the food is ready most of the time. If she's busy, I go look after the baby. So it's about giving, taking, giving, because you can't be, she doesn't ask me for much, and I don't ask her for much because I know she's busy. Even so now I'm working and I need her help sometimes, and the way she's talking on the phone, I already know that she's a bit busy. Say, okay, no worries now, leave for later, I'll do, or when you have time. So you need to have the balance. And the other thing, like I was saying about calling, some wives, sometimes they call too much. Sometimes it's the men as well, but they are more into talking. And when we are working, we need to be focused on the work. If something urgent, it's okay, no problem. But when the person calls the time, it's a bit disturbing. When you get home, you don't have what to talk because you've been all the time on the phone. So
you didn't talk on the phone already.
You know, and then what you're gonna talk when you get home. So you need to have that balance.
Yeah.
And of course, helping with the child at home. I give showers sometimes. I change her. I do everything that
That's
I can.
what I was going to ask you next.
Yeah.
What were the things that you had to learn to do in order for you to be able to help your wife?
No, it's fun. I love it. Because sometimes she wanna go out for a few hours. I stay with her. We play. We watch TV. I change her, give shower. I do everything. I love children. So, and it's not my first one, right? I have others before.
Right.
So I'm used to it.
Right. And in your opinion there, Diana, what would you say to the young mothers whose baby is just born and now they are dealing with challenges that they're happy, but also they are, wow, I can't sleep as much.
I did expect
the routine.
There's so much job.
Yeah, the routine completely changes, right? So what could a mother do, a young mother do, to deal with this well?
I will tell them, because when I was in the hospital, the nurse used to tell me, when baby sleep, mommy should sleep as well. And this is something that sometimes I wasn't doing it because I need distractions. So when she was sleeping, I was watching TV, very bad. And then nighttime, she was waking up 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was very. So what I actually advise them to sleep when the baby sleep. To think that they are raising their own miracle because they are miracles, and to have lots of patience because everything goes so quickly and time flies. She's 2 years and 3 months almost, and
to enjoy this time, right?
Yeah, it seems yesterday she's born. So I just tell them to enjoy the little babies because they are precious.
Very good.
Definitely.
So you see here that a child is a blessing, and if you're considering to have yours, it's a very exciting idea. That's great, but take into consideration that it will require many sacrifices. Your routine will change. And if you are having a stressful relationship already, having a child, remember, it's going to increase the level of stress. So I would say you need to be at a good spot in your relationship when you are thinking about having the child, right? Because it involves many challenges too. I would like to thank Eranji, Diana, and little Elizabeth for coming to the Love Talk Show. All right, the best for you, okay? And thanks for watching. We're gonna be now going to a short break and come back with more Love Talk Show. Hello, dear viewer. If you are dealing with difficult problems in your relationship, such as
Fights,
or healing from a harsh breakup,
jealousy,
communication issues, or things of the like, come to the Love Therapy this Thursday and every Thursday at 8 p.m. in Finsbury Park, 232 Seven Sisters Road, N4, 3NX. For more information, visit our website, lovetherapy.co.uk. See you here.
see you.
Welcome back. Many studies have shown that a relationship oftentimes suffers heavy stress once a kid comes along. So now we will check a really interesting interview we had with a counselor and psychotherapist.
If you have kids or planning to have, you'll get a lot of information from this interview. Let's watch it.
We have today a specialist here on the show, Bola. Thanks for coming, all right, to the Love Talk Show, right? Making the time to be with us here today. Talk a little bit about your work, the work that you do.
I am a psychotherapist who deals with psychological issues in individuals and couples. So I deal with anything that's bothering an individual or couple, from depression, marital problems, anxiety, personality disorders. It could be also something like redundancy that has made somebody feel worthless, all sorts of issues. It can be from the mundane to the ridiculous, the most simple to the most complex.
So on our topic today, Bola, we're talking about how when the children come into the family, having the children, the impact that it brings. You speak to couples.
Yes.
So what would be the most common issue they approach you with? Is it involving having the children, or is it something else? What is the most common issue that you find?
The most common issue is more to do with communication and how they find it difficult to communicate, and there are lots of arguments and they can't understand why. Sometimes there are children involved, sometimes it's before children, pre-children, but it's usually about communication. It could be about financial issues too, or even role reversals. Some like for example, the husband or the male person will feel that he's being overlooked, or his role is being taken over by his wife or his female partner. So all those things come into play, and not understanding how to get through, communicate and understand how to get through those issues.
And why do you think that is? Why do you think that communication is the most common one? What have you observed from the time doing this?
Communication is very difficult because people have different communication styles. So they don't understand what style they have and how it complements. So they're having difficulty in getting past that brick wall of not understanding. And I believe it stems from growing up, how they have experienced their parents communicating, for example. They internalize that and bring it into their partnerships, their marriages. And sometimes it doesn't work because the person they're communicating with has a completely different style. So it doesn't gel, it doesn't work. So,
right. And we're very different in the way we communicate as individuals, right? And even as men and women. Men and women communicate in a very different way. Women are usually more emotional, right? They communicate through feelings. Men are more pragmatic. They communicate, verbal communication they're more direct, right? But we even spoke about it recently that only about 7% of the communication is verbal. There's body language that plays a huge role, right? And other elements to communication too. But on the aspect of children, Bola, in the relationship, what have you found? Have couples that come to you find it difficult to cope, or to in the beginning? What are the difficulties they have to deal with?
In the beginning, it's very difficult because, as you mentioned earlier, sometimes the couple feel that when they have a child, it will be wonderful, it will solve every problem. And usually it's the opposite that happens, especially if they're not prepared. Because when a child comes, it's a different dynamic. Before it was just the two, and they're dealing with the issues or dynamics that a couple involved. But when a third is added, a child is added, it's completely different. So, for example, the mother, the wife, all her attention goes on the child. Not because she's doing it intentionally, because that child needs all the attention. She's there to feed, she's there to nurture, she's a primary caregiver. Yes, her partner, her husband is there too, but he's more removed. And that can make him feel isolated, unloved. Sometimes it breeds jealousy. So that's when the partnerships can become quite rocky. And so instead of the baby bonding, it separates.
Yes. Very good that you mentioned that, because you see, that's why we usually recommend, of course, it's just an advice, that couples, they allow some years to come into the marriage and then have a child. What many times, because in the beginning of the marriage, it's already a period of adjustment, right? One is learning, even the communication issues, how I took a good while to understand how you communicate. Now I understand it better, and the same on your side. So it's already difficult.
Yeah.
I would imagine we didn't have a child in the beginning, but if we had, even with the idea, as you said, oh, this will bring us closer. That's what many couples think. You know, oh, we need to have a baby. You know, in the beginning, wow, it's very exciting, right? But you know, you have to deal now with the baby's needs, with the attention now, which was just, you know, one and the other. Now there's a third individual in this relationship. So it's good to wait. It's good to let some years go by, right? And really plan well, isn't it? Because you have to. The more informed, well-informed you are, the better. Saying
that, you can never plan enough, because it's always you can never be completely prepared.
Yes.
Yeah, and unexpected things will happen. Right?
And you know, the emotions, the feelings, the psychological things that having a baby brings up, because it's not just about you have a new baby. It also sometimes, if there are unresolved issues with the parents from their childhood, it comes out when the baby comes. As the baby gets older, goes into little child, these things play out. And if the couple are not aware, like you said before, getting to know each other before a child comes along, it can be quite destructive.
And I think that also some people, they are really perfectionists and they want to have everything figured out. They don't deal well with the unexpected, right? So what you're saying really is really important, because in life we know this, but when it comes to having a child, even more so, because you never know what you're gonna get. First of all, you don't know if it's gonna be a boy or a girl, right? Sometimes there's this expectation. Usually the man wants to have the boy, and the mother wants to have the girl, like her doll, right? But, okay, the baby is born, the baby is now growing up, becomes a toddler and starts to grow and develop his own personality, right? His own persona.
And new problems will come with the teenage years, right?
And also because, you know, a couple have different upbringings. So where the discipline is concerned, how do you raise the child? The mother might want to be a bit softer, the father will be more stern, and then there can be difficulties in how you raise the child if before the child comes you haven't discussed it. Of course there'll be mistakes made, or you're a bit too harsh, you're a bit too, but you can also, you know, you can correct that. But if you didn't discuss it before, and you just start when the child is, you know, been born and growing, that can be quite dangerous.
Yeah, and to also understand the different elements, right? It will affect the intimacy, the privacy is no longer the same.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
They are more tired, they're busy.
Yeah.
Right? All this has to be taken into consideration, isn't it? Because I think many couples, they have this idea, you know, all you need is love. All you need is love, as the song says. No, love is not all you need. Love is a fundamental ingredient, right? And it's not just a feeling, Anna. This is what we keep saying, and we keep hitting this key, but it's true. Love is not only a feeling. Passion is a feeling, but love entails a lot of investment, a lot of planning, faithfulness, sacrifice, compromise. If I expect that you're going to agree with me on everything, and I have a hard time conceding, I have a hard time understanding and saying, okay, let's do it your way, then I'm not ready for love. Because it involves this.
I was thinking also, for example, they want they work so hard to make the kids happy, right? And put all the attention on the kids. But if the couple are not well, if they're not happy, the kids are not happy also.
And even before, from studies, even before the child is born, they absorb what's going on around them. They observe, they take in the mother's moods. They can hear. They don't understand, but they can hear. They can hear if there's trouble. So sometimes the child comes out, what they say, colicky, always crying, never satisfied. It's because they've experienced the negativity from the womb. So, yeah.
So in your experience, have you seen this kind of thing happening where parents were maybe dedicating too much attention, or at least one parent dedicating, you know, not having the balance, right? And bringing stress to the relationship, which in the end result will also affect the child, right? Have you seen this?
Oh yes, I have. And it's got to a point where, because the mother is very hands-on with the raising of the child, and she wants to take control. She's also hands-on in how, providing for the home, where her husband wants that role, but because she feels that, not that she does it intentionally, she feels that only she can do it the way it needs to be done, the husband feels neglected. He feels put down, he feels like he's not needed. And anytime he tries to look after the toddler, he feels like he's not doing it good enough, well enough. So that's breeding a lot of anxiety, a lot of ill feeling towards his wife, and she doesn't really understand. So they're trying to get them to understand how each other is feeling in order for there to be a compromise and for the child to grow up in a more peaceful.
Yeah. I think you mentioned the key word here, Paula, when you spoke about understanding. And I think that this is what is missing a lot on today's relationships. For instance, in the period of pregnancy, imagine just the stress, the expectations and everything, plus the hormonal changes. Of course, the woman, and the men too, but even the woman more so because she's more affected, emotionally and more connected. She will say and do things during that period that it's not really who she is. Yeah. But if the man is going to look at that situation and say, oh, how come did you say this to me? Or how come you're not looking at this or that? He's not understanding. It's not who she is. That situation that happened, that instance, doesn't define her personality, her character. It's just that it's too much. And
it's a period that she needs the most care, right? Understanding, right?
Yes.
And as you said, the child is feeling everything.
Yes.
And also we can't forget that the man, the father, the husband also has a lot of pressure on him too, because now he's thinking about how he's going to provide. Will he be a good provider? Will he be a good father? Will he still be a good husband? So all of these pressures, and usually that it's not verbalized.
Yes.
They don't speak about what they're going through, their fears, because everything is focused on the mother carrying the baby.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, this is really important also that people do speak about it, right? First of all, speak to your partner, right? Be transparent.
Work as a team.
I mean, there are things that maybe they don't need to talk about every little thing, but I mean, if I see that you are upset, that you are dealing with a lot, the worst thing that I can do is to even say something that's going to add more weight, more burden. So there are things I might not say, at least not at that moment, but it's important to communicate, and at some point where you have that moment where you feel free to say this, to come and say, hey, it's been difficult to deal with this, or I'm having a hard time with that. Can you help me? It's important, right, to concede this help, right, to be able to help. Maybe I'm not an expert of washing the dishes. It's something I hate to do, but hey, you're nursing the child, you're taking care of the house, you're recovering from, childbirth. Let me do this. Let me, go back a little bit and remember the time when I was single, when I had to do the own dishes and press my own clothes and wash my own clothes, right? And the woman also understanding, he needs my patience, my support. Because, Anna, what a woman says to her partner has a lot of weight. No other person's word has more weight for me than yours. If you're going to say something either good or bad, it will affect me. When it comes to this, imagine you have the stress, you have the challenges, you have, having children are wonderful, they're beautiful, but we need also to look at this side of things and also be well prepared, right?
In your opinion, is there any age, the right age to have kids?
No, I wouldn't say, because everybody matures at different ages. Everybody becomes ready at different ages. The only thing I would say, because women have a biological clock, so they can't keep it, too far into the future. But sometimes you can get a 21-year-old who's more ready than a 31-year-old. It depends on how they've matured and psychologically developed.
And if you would give an advice, Paula, to couples that are thinking about having a child now, and even to those who recently had a child, it's their first parentship journey, besides of what we have spoken here, some practical advice. What would they do to make this period a more smooth period?
I think before the couple that hasn't had a child yet, talk to each other. Really talk about your expectations of each other. What you want, how you see yourself raising, disciplining, where the child, how, even going to the schools they're going to go to, the home they're going to have, the practical things. Talk about your expectations. Talk about when you were a child, what was difficult for you and how you can make it different for your child. Talk about how, as you mentioned earlier, the wife, when she's carrying, the hormones will be going crazy, so she'll be behaving out of character. And how, please give me room. It's not me, it's just the hormones, but don't take advantage of it. That's,
Yes. Don't use that as a trump card to always blame on it, right?
And with the man, the husband, the partner, let him know that you're there for him too, because it's a big change. He's got heavy load on his shoulders now when the child is about to come. He has, if he's the provider, pay the mortgage, the rent, provide all those things, the food. And for those who have got children and maybe are finding it difficult, just talk about what's making it difficult for you. And also, if it's possible, to get someone to look after your child or children so you can rebond again as a couple. You can talk about things. Communication is key. It's about talking, finding out what you're thinking, understanding, being transparent. You're a couple, so you love each other. So why can't you try and talk?
Mm-hmm. And manage your expectations well too, right? Combine everything. So as we can see here, having a child is a blessing, but it's not easy. It's not a walk in the park. Don't expect it to be a walk in the park. Don't expect that it will only affect your relationship positively. Ideally, yes. But if you are prepared for this, and as we said here, no one can be fully prepared. There will always be unexpected circumstances. I would like to thank Bola for giving us the time today. We wanted to even talk more here, but on TV, you know how it is. Our time is limited. Thank you so much, all right, for helping us. And yes, I believe that you were helped somehow with what we discussed about here. We could bring some good elements to help you in your decision making. And we're going to go now to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We have a lot of good stuff to still show you on today's Love Talk. We'll be right back. Dear viewer of the Love Talk Show, did you know that you can watch full-length episodes now via our YouTube channel? All you have to do, Anna, is to find the Love Talk Show YouTube channel, subscribe. You're going to find all our episodes there in full length, and you can watch for free. You can even copy the link and share with family and friends. But not only that,
you also in the social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, follow us, like, share, and comment.
And also don't forget to visit our website, lovetalkshow.tv. There you're going to find even more information that you will not see here on the TV show. And also you can write your questions. Send us your questions to the email questions@lovetalkshow.tv. All right, we would love to hear from you. Let's continue watching Love Talk Show. Welcome back. Children need to be active every day to promote their development. And as we already talked about on the show, the importance of going on a date with your partner, it is also important to go out with your entire family and do different things together. And most importantly, creative things.
Family time isn't just for fun. It's also beneficial. It's important to create a stronger bond between you all.
So play with your kids and with your partner. Don't say that you don't do kids' activities. Besides getting you closer to your family, it can reduce your stress. I hope you got inspired by watching this video, and the time you have together is essential for the kids and for the partner as well to feel loved and secure.
Now, before finishing our show, you will see a video that I'm sure it is going to melt your heart.
My mom is kind.
My mum is caring, loving.
That she's inspirational.
She's loving and she's caring, devoted and she's kind. She helps me with decisions when I can't make up my mind.
I would say she's a superhero to me. She does everything. I don't know how she gets the energy. She cleans the house, does the food.
She wipes my tears when I'm upset, makes me laugh.
She's always kind and loving.
Like my grandma, she's kind. She takes care of me and my brother.
She's the one who helps and makes the food for us and everything. Without her, I would be nothing.
You're so patient. You're so kind. But I'm so sorry that I'm driving you out of your mind. Can you give a message to her? Bye-bye?
Bye-bye. 1, 2, 3, 4. My dad is nice and he's very rich. He buys me cars and toys and everything else.
My dad's very kind.
In the sunny days, we play in the paddling pool. I like him so much.
I like my dad because he makes me feel better when I'm down sometimes.
He lives in Portugal and he speaks Portuguese, but I don't really know how to speak Portuguese, do you?
So Anna, it was really cute to see the kids on the video sending messages to their parents, right? And for you who want to have kids, you could see that it's totally worth all the challenges, but you have to be ready for your own good and for the good of your partner and child.
Thank you for being with us today.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Have you ever met Miss Lindy? She's a gal with the bright red hair.
About.
What
do you have to say about it?
Get some rest.
That's it.
Beautiful. Check it out.
Interesting interview that...
Let's... to melt your heart.
It's me going to me out.
I'm the good.
Have you ever seen Miss Lindy? She likes to dance all day. And when she
Thank you.
Love all.
It's Everybody's Eye.
This program is brought to you by UCKG.